Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my reading goals for 2025. Okay, so I'm one of those people that loves to come up with goals. I feel like it just keeps me motivated. I don't get bent out of shape if I don't meet them. I didn't meet my quantitative, stretch goal last year, and there's a few different ones that I've had throughout the years and just never completed, but they're gonna stay on my list because one day I'm gonna get through them and it's going to feel so good. So today we are going to just talk about these. I know it's already February. I've had these goals and been working on them since January. I've just, been busy posting other stuff. So this is this week's video and we're already in the thick of these goals. So jumping right into it. First goal is my quantitative goal for how many books I want to read this year total. So I always set my soft goal at 52. I usually read more than this. I feel like 52 for me in this stage of my life is pretty attainable. And so I like to have that because I know I'll meet it. And then I set kind of a stretch goal for myself, which I met by barely, literally like December 31st, read my last book of 200. So I accomplished that in 2023, and then 2024, I did not make it. I read 191 books last year, and so I was close. I was like right up there. But ultimately, in the last week of the holidays, right before Christmas, I was kind of like, I'm doing this to like meet a number that I don't really care about, and I do not want to stress myself out by trying to cram in so many books in the last couple of days and probably not even enjoy them. And for what? So this year, I'm doing the same. I'm going to keep a soft stretch goal of 200, but really my goal is 52 books. I would be happy with 100. I used to read a lot more books than I have been recently because I used to listen to a lot more audiobooks. It's not that I don't like audiobooks. I just feel like I was forcing myself to listen to them as a way of getting through all of the books I had on my TBR. And so last year in December, I kind of just went through, so I say last year like it was so long ago, 2 months ago, I went through my whole TBR and just pulled a bunch out that I'm no longer interested in, that I maybe got for free from publishers or a little free library or a friend who was very well-meaning but maybe doesn't know my book taste super well. Things like that where I was like, I know I'm not going to read this, and if I ever did, the library is a great place to go. And so I pulled all of those books off. And those books were kind of the category of books that I had been really using audiobooks to get through. And so once those were off my plate, I was like, I don't need to keep forcing myself to do audio because every single book on my shelf, even if I don't want to read it at this exact minute, I'm excited about reading it someday. So I think culling my TBR numbers in that way was really good. I took almost 100 books off my TBR. Every time I get rid of books, I always give them to my mom first to go through so she can take what she wants. Sometimes she'll pass them on to my grandma, and then the rest go to little free libraries. So I still have 2 big bags of books that are set to go. And then every month after I finish reading, make my wrap-ups, take my photos, all that, any books that were 3-star and under, and sometimes even 4-star, I'll usually get rid of because I know I'm not going to reread them, and I like to devote more of my book space to books I'm excited to read than books that I've already read and didn't love. Probably in another video, or maybe I've already posted. I'm planning on doing a TBR deep dive so you can kind of see how all my books are organized, when they came to me, when I'm planning on reading them, things like that. So that'll all be in a different video, and I'll kind of do that combined, I think, with like a bookshelf tour, because I have this room that I record in, which has one of my bookshelves behind me, but this actually isn't even my biggest bookshelf. This is all TBR behind me though. And I've got another bookshelf over here with TBR books. I've got one out in the book nook with TBR shelves. So I've got a lot of TBR shelves. Anyway, that kind of got derailed. So first goal, 52 books, stretch goal of 200 books. I don't want to buy as many physical books this year. This kind of goes with that. So I have a really bad habit of feeling like I need to own every single book in a series before I read it. Sometimes that is nice. Like, I'm not going to take away from that, but I used to be much more of a library reader, and I want to get back to that and really only hold on to the books that I love. Part of that is going to be just not going to the bookstore as much, honestly, because that's really where I make poor decisions financially in my bookish life. So I'm a sucker for like a Barnes & Noble BOGO 50 sale or the hardcover sale, 25% off for premium members plus an extra things like that. So I'm going to try to kind of leave that habit behind. It's hard for me, especially because I have an indie about 5 minutes away indie bookstore that I absolutely love. And I have a Barnes & Noble about 5 minutes away in the other direction. So no matter what way I'm going on the freeway, I am almost always passing a bookstore that I love. Honestly feel like over the last 3-ish years, as I've gotten back into reading as an adult, I've collected a lot of books that I'm not needing to read immediately. And because I've collected so many of those books, a lot of times when I go to bookstores, it's like, oh, read that, have that, read that, have that, read that, gave that away, hated that, don't want this, that author sucks, love this author. Like, I have a lot of, like, as I'm sure most of us do, institutional kind of knowledge about the books that are out. I think that'll help me to buy less because it's not as exciting to buy something when you already own it. Obviously, I'm not going to buy duplicates on purpose. That has happened to me before though. And I've been really good at tracking what books I own. So it's easy for me to go and check a list and know that it's 100% accurate, which has been really helpful. But I'm also trying to kind of lean into book subscriptions a little bit because a lot of times it's books that I wouldn't get in a bookstore that I'm excited to read, that are really pretty and that are adding kind of a different value to my shelf than just costing $12.99 at Barnes & Noble and they happen to be on the Romantasy table or something like that. I want to not buy as many physical books, and then I want to kind of give myself some accountability with that. So every month I'm going to be going through and keeping track of how many books I've bought, how many books I've read off my TBR, and then having like a tracker. So I think I started the year with 652 books on my TBR. So ideally, I would like to be, honestly, I would love to be below like 600 on my TBR by the end of the year, but I would settle for just being lower than 652. As I am filming this, I have exactly 688 books on my TBR, and that is largely because my birthday is at the beginning of January, and so always around Christmas and January, I'm getting tons of gift cards, I'm getting tons of birthday and Christmas books, I'm in a lot of like 2 birthday gift exchange books on Bookstagram. So January is always a really heavy acquisition month for me. I think I got 40 books total, and of those I only bought like 10. I actually think it was bigger than 10. I think it was like 16. But of those 16, all of them came from gift card purchases. So it's not like it's a more expensive month for me book-wise. It just volume-wise is bringing in a ton of books. And so I'm trying to avoid that for the rest of the year, which I should because you only have a birthday once a year, but that's kind of where I'm coming from. Also, although I didn't count any of my BookVent books towards that 652 number, or sorry, haven't picked up any since that 652 number because that was including those books. BookVent always is a 25 book endeavor a year. So even just with that, like I have to read down a lot before the end of the year to make sure that I'm getting below that number and accounting for those 25 books that will be coming in. Moving along to kind of more content-based goals. Also, a moment. This sweatshirt was one part of my Christmas/birthday gift from Maddie, City of Starlight and Books. It's a beach reads shirt. I don't know if you can even see it. It's North Bear Shores, Michigan, home of January and Gus. I'm obsessed with it. I've been living in this shirt. Was that even like where I was situated before? It's generally fine. Okay, so as far as content goals, I want to be a lot less rigid about Bookstagram and be a lot more invested into making content for BookTube and for my Substack, which is just my written newsletter. I feel like I have missed the creativity that comes with producing long form content, and I love Instagram. I just feel like I've been putting a lot of my time into like scrolling and doing random stuff on there that's not really like benefiting me, and I want to know when I jump on that app that I'm going to be able to talk to the people I want to talk to, see a lot of pretty book pictures, and get a lot of recommendations. Just scrolling is not really doing that for me. So I want to put my energy into content creation, but with Substack and BookTube more than Instagram. So I have kind of a goal of doing one BookTube video a week, which has gone well so far. I've been posting on Fridays. I would ideally like to get ahead of myself and have everything edited and ready to go by Friday, but I've been editing and posting in the same day a lot of the time and recording like the weekend before. So like I'm recording this on a Sunday, probably gonna post it on Friday. And then I want to do quarterly check-ins of my TBR in video. So I want to do like a quarter one, all of the books I got, and here's how my TBR is looking kind of video. I already said this, but monthly want to do that just to my stories on Bookstagram to be like, hey, Hannah, this is how many books you've been buying. And I think that'll just be helpful for me because even with like my finances, I do a check-in once a month just to be like, okay, where are we all at? And so that's kind of what I want to do for my books. And I think that'll be helpful for me just because it's monitoring it month to month and not just me getting to the end of the year and being like, I bought a lot of books, because that's not super helpful. Like what, you're going to do better next year and you're going to do that by not tracking anything? Recipe for success. Okay, this one's kind of a fun one. Oh, and then sorry, with Substack, I want to be posting twice a week. So on Sundays, I usually send out my table of contents, which is basically like, here's my YouTube video from this week. Here's a blog post that you might have missed. Here's fun stuff going on Bookstagram. Here's buddy reads you can join for my buddy reads page, like kind of an announcement, and then like a couple of things that I found that week that are fun. And so that's table of contents. And then I do kind of a more normal blog post on Wednesdays. So my goal is to keep that up. That's like 2 posts a week. I can normally prepare them pretty far in advance. So if I need to like stock up on what I'm sending out, then that works fine. This one's a fun one. I want to do a buddy read of The Count of Monte Cristo with my husband. So I've always wanted to be a classics girly, and I'm just not. There were some books that I liked in school, but being honest, like I'm much more of a fantasy romance girl, and so it's hard for me to want to like put in the time to really read a classic. So Michael and I are using this app called Serial Reader. This is not sponsored, but they should reach out to me if they want to be. And it basically just sends you like a 10 to 15 minute chunk of a classic, anything that's in the public domain, every day. And so if you're just reading that chunk in, X amount of days, you'll be done with the whole book. So Count of Monte Cristo is a chunker, but it's in serial form, only about 208 issues, I think. So if I just read a little bit every day, we'll be done in 208 days. So I haven't honestly gotten super started with that. I've really slacked. I did like the first 3 days and then off. So I need to get back into that, but I'm excited about it. I've always wanted to read The Count of Monte Cristo, and people always say that it's like a really fun classic. So I think that bodes well. Moving into like subscription books. So this is kind of a 3-part. So I want to read 15 Book of the Month books, 15 Fairy Loot books, and my remaining 12 Aardvark books. So I'm no longer an Aardvark subscriber, but I do still have 12 books from Aardvark that are sitting on my shelf, so I'd like to be done with all of those. Liked Aardvark a lot. I just wasn't really connecting with a lot of the books that they sent, and so between that and Book of the Month, that's like I'd rather do Book of the Month. It's more cost effective. There's more options. It seems to fit my personal reading taste better, but I do love Aardvark, so that's not a knock on them. But because I'm not getting it anymore, I would like to be done with those books and know like once and for all if they're keepers or if I'm getting rid of them. Book of the Month, I set at 15. Obviously, you'll get 1 book a month, but you can do add-ons, and I usually do. And I have a solid, probably like 30, 40 books that I've kind of accumulated from them that I haven't read. And so I'm trying to read about 1 to 2 a month this year, just to make sure that I'm consistently taking advantage of that subscription. And then same thing with Fairy Loot. I'm as of right now, young adult, and romantasy subscriber to Fairy Loot. So every month I'm getting 3 Fairy Loot books in. So those are another one that I'm like, I gotta read them to make this worth it. Just recently, I also added on Moonlight's romantasy subscription, and then Owl Crate's romantasy subscription. So I've got a lot of book subscriptions coming in, so I need to read them. This next one's kind of like an anti-goal, because I kind of want to take, how you see like monthly challenges everywhere? I want to do none of them. I always get sucked into them, and then I feel like crap when I don't end up reading them all, or I feel restricted because I got to find books that fit the certain prompts. And so I just want to not do any kind of reading challenges except the ones that really are drilling into getting my TBR down, or ones in that same vein that I come up with myself, because I've been taking blind TBR picks every month for like, here's the books I know I'm going to read, here's some books that I could read. And so I would like to keep doing that because I think it's fun and it kind of motivates me to get to know my own shelves a little bit. But any other bingos, birthday challenges, color challenges, all that, I just get stressed out and it takes the enjoyment out of them for me. So I think it's better for me personally, and this does not have to apply to everybody, but that I just know that those are for a different reader who is not me, and that's okay. Those are all of my goals for this year. I know this is kind of on the shorter side video-wise, but I would love to know what some of your goals are, how you're going about accomplishing them. I love watching these videos because I'm such a I'm an Enneagram 7, and I love the anticipation and like fresh starts and being like, okay, what are we gonna do this year? And so I'm just excited. So tell me what some of your goals are, how they're going so far, anything you've given up, anything you're picking up halfway through the year. This isn't halfway through the year, but you know what I mean? Things that you're coming up with as we go, that kind of thing. I would love to know. So other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks.